Hi guys, I'm Dorota Palicka, international nail artist and educator here, and today we are gonna do my nails, and November ones. A transition in between the autumn and the Christmas time is always hard to decide what to pick up, so I have opted for a really nice and elegant set. Have a preview of it in here. I hope you really enjoy learning this tutorial, and also if you do, let me know in the comments below what else you would like to see it on this channel. So let's start. Hi guys, Dorota Palicka, international nail artist and educator here, and I'm gonna do a simple set on my nails. That's a rebalance. So I've got my e-file, and then I'm gonna just remove the old design. And actually I wanted to do this nails like quite soon, but I just couldn't find the time, so they are just like a month old now. And I'm removing those pumpkins because it's a time to swap them for something more neutral. And in the meantime, I have done my right hand. Well, of course, I have already chipped the thumb a little bit. Now, when you do remove the design and you want to shorten the nails, you need to thin out the free edge a little bit. I actually really like this design. I think it wasn't too much for Halloween. So just remove it and then blend around the cuticle area. Next one. It still should be pretty easy rebalance because the growth isn't as big. Like, I mean, sometimes I have no time and I have to work with the nails like for 6 or 8 weeks, and they are just a month old. So remove it from the pinky and then thin out the free edge. Okay, the next step we want to do is push back the cuticles. And I have been quite bad for not oiling them. I'm going to show you on those 4 nails like how I'm doing it, because the thumb will be just exactly the same. Actually, some of you asked me like why I don't do the thumb on the video. I think it's quite comfy. In some videos I do the thumb as well. And then you can see it, I've got lots of dry skin. I wasn't moisturizing my hands, and there is a tiny bit of the lifting in that corner as well. So we are gonna clean my cuticles, and I'm just swapping into the wee bowl in here. Putting the speed a little bit lower, so I'm going on 22 and then file it on the one side. I also file the nail folds as well, just because they have been really dry. And actually applying cuticle oil does make a really huge difference to how the cuticles look after the product application. Okay, file the other side. I quite like the bowl because it's cleaning the nail folds really nice and gentle. Once I have done that, I can grab the file. So I've got some ink from the printer, and then reshape the nails. So we want to file one side at the angle, look at the filing line, and then the other side at the angle. Because of the position of my hand, I have to watch it to don't round the shape, like that can make the nails look quite bulky. So I make sure my file is nice and straight. We also need to get rid of those lifting here. So just a couple of scratches and the lifting is gone, and the file I'm using, so on this side is 100 grit, on that side is 180 grit, and when you're working on the product, I can use the 100 grit to shorten it and to remove the bulk of the product, but for the natural nails I do not go higher than the 180 grit, and this is just a perfect grit to scratch the surface of the natural nail without damaging it. Look how much we have to thin out those nails. They look really nice and thin, but once we shorten them, they become much thicker. Okay, and then we are gonna blend those natural nails. So I do swap my file and just give a couple scratches to the natural nail, just so everything is nicely blended. Okay, next one. So one side, other side, shorten it quite a decent amount. and then blended the product with the natural nail. I'm always saying it's like going up, on, and then going down with this almost like brushing away motion. And this nail will be fine. We don't have to do anything about it. File it nice and straight. File the other side. And this side is quite difficult to not do that when you're doing your own nails. So quite often I would just straighten them and check the other view, because it is really difficult to do that. And then blend it in here. You can also see it like what a nice scratches 180 grit does on the natural nail plate, and this is absolutely enough to get a really nice adhesion of the product. You don't want to damage the nails. And there is quite a lot of videos, guys, when I'm sorry, I had to check the other side view, when I showing you like how my natural nails looks like, what is the condition of them when I remove any product which I might have on it. And then shorten this free edge. So I also usually try to match those 3 nails to the same length. This one is slightly shorter, and I like my thumb a little bit shorter as well. Usually I do it to the clients the same way, and I think it looks really nice on the pictures as well. Again, this is kind of my custom style. I do it for my nails. Okay, remove the dust. And now what I'm always doing is I'm doing a pre-inspection. Okay, so I would see I can trim tiny bit of the cuticles. I can do that after I do file and apply the product, but if there is anything on the nail plate, like in here, I have to remove it. And on this one, I always have to remove it before I apply any product, because that's a nail which has an overgrown skin on the nail plate and is causing the lifting in that corner. So I'm always very careful when I'm doing a preparation of this nail for product application. See, this has to be always gone. Probably I didn't clean it as properly last time. That's why I had those little lifting in that corner. So I'm making sure I'm just removing everything from the nail plate, if there is anything left. This inspection is done. Next step, I take a corner of the file and I'm just inspecting if there is any more shiny places. I find that doing that way gives me a much better prep, because sometimes when we file, the nails can be dusty and the dust is white, so it will look like the nail prep has been done correctly where it wasn't. Okay, remove this dust. And then blue scrub is an liquid which dehydrates the nail plate. I always make sure I clean it really nice in this area, like really properly, nice and squeaky clean. And to be honest, because they was freshly sculpted a month ago, this set will look still pretty nice. I don't have to do like really bad, like lots of work to get them nice and shape. Okay, next step is, let me just grab away that we actually don't gonna need it anymore. Clean it a little bit, and then we are gonna use the Perfect Rose gel and my gel brush. So I am all ready. Extra nail prep. Extra nail prep is a nail dehydrator as well. So apply it in, and then you have to wait for it to dry. I think it's also brighter now once I remove this fan. Universal Air Bond. And apply it in. Close the product, and again wait a couple seconds for it to dry. I always store my brush in a drawer, so I'm just cleaning it, get it nicely into the shape. I do really like those points on the brush, because it gives me a nice and precise application around the cuticle area. Picking up a small scoop of the product, like you can see it how tiny it is, and also the other side of the brush is clean. Okay. Apply it on the nail by removing it from your brush. And then you've got no extra product on your brush, you've got just a very small amount, so you can almost touch like the cuticle without touching it. The gel, every gel shrinks a little bit during the curing process. So I'm always making sure I'm capping the free edge properly. So look how my brush is splitting. That's my free edge cap. Very nice and decent press. And then cap the other one. I'm actually gonna do all 4 of them at the same time, and also building the structure. I mean, we have to just basically move the apex a little bit because the nails have grown out. And then another nail. For the clients, if the growth is really large, I would do this thin layer, cook the nails, then remove them, and then do another thin layer, and then build up my apex. My nails looks fab, like they will last probably like this as well, because I'm usually quite good with them. So I can just straight away go into moving my apex, because you can see it, like how empty this space look, like really empty. So we need to move it back. So what I'm doing is I've got my ball in here, like very tiny one, because we don't need a lot of product in here. And I'm start releasing it from my brush, leaving a small gap from the cuticle. We already applied very thin layer in there, so we don't need any more. And then, look, it doesn't look nice. So what we have to do it is we have to just press it down quite hard to smooth it out and kind of blend it. Okay, and this way the nail shape looks much better. Repeat the process. So I'm picking up a small scoop, and gels have a different consistency depending on the room temperatures you're working with. Unfortunately, in a new salon, it's really freezing. We have broke, you guys know, like both of the sunbeds have been broken, so they would produce quite a lot of extra heat. They don't at the moment. We've got all the heatings on, but it's still a little bit cold. So that way the gel doesn't run, okay? And that's why I can talk so much and I can do all 4 nails, because the product doesn't run. I mean, obviously if I would do it quite a lot, product in a 1 nail, then yes, it could maybe start flooding, but I'm just doing a very tiny rebalance on those nails. And I'm trying to cover also the stuff. I'm trying to, like in my head, I'm trying to think what else I didn't maybe say to you in all those videos. And believe it or not, guys, there is a 1,000 videos like on this channel. Crazy, like it's crazy. I can't believe we have produced so much content for you, and I hope you guys still enjoying watching me, you know, with all those nail tips. And I'm trying to work kind of clean as well, because I don't want you to do much of the filing, and that's how they look before we even start filing them. Like I think it's pretty nice. So 60 seconds cure, close your product, otherwise it will be it could cook as well. But look, like, I mean, I could talk till tomorrow morning and the gel wouldn't run because of the temperatures in this room. 60 seconds cure. Okay, last few seconds, UV cleanser to remove the inhibition layer, and then we can shape them. So basically the shaping is gonna be exactly the same like we did it before the rebalance. Let me actually do that. So one side, and also I want to show you, you can see there's almost like a wave going on. So what I want to do it is I want to straighten it, and I'm gonna show you the filing lines again. Look how I file nice and straight, so don't file rounded shape. Nice and straight in here. Again, you can see my filing lines. So that's drastically changed the shape of the nail. I mean, they have been pretty good shape, so we also need to lift this entire side up a little bit. So I'm just doing those kind of motion. Again, check the filing lines. Blend everything around the cuticle area. That will prevent the lifting of the product. So blended it nice. I'm gonna thin out the free edge a little bit more. And I need to look at the nail like from underneath. So just thin out the free edge. And what it does to my nails when I do thin out the free edge like this, I've got lots of product there, so you can see there is a part which I didn't touch with the file, lots of product there. This is all my support. The sides are nice and thin, free edge is nice and thin, and everything around the cuticle area is nice and thin, so even after a month, excuse my cuticles, I really have been like stressing out and picking. You can see it, the growth is like not as visible because all what I have is like this thin layer of the gel in here and a tiny bit of the top coat. That looks fantastic later on when it grows and it lasts ages. Okay, just the same in here. So also look at the, so here is old apex, how it grow out, and then we've got the fresh apex which just moved in. Just exactly the same. One side, other side. And if it is not necessarily, you don't have to file the entire nails. I mean, this is the part, so around the cuticle is a part which I would always file. As I say, it does really prevent the lifting. Like, and I was, when I started doing nails back in 2005, this is scary, guys, I'm getting old. I did struggle with some lifting, you know, and the more lifting I had, the more difficult the rebalance was becoming. So I find that after blending this area, the things last much better. Again, look how thick this nail is. Like, I really want to show you that this nail is extremely thick compared to this nice thin end. And with the French manicure, it is gonna show so badly. I'm actually gonna show you that as well. So, again, this is a bad job because it's done with my left hand, but the end is nice and thin. But if we shorten the nail, so I chipped this nail a little bit and I had to file it and shorten it. Look how thick it is, like really thick. Obviously, the French wouldn't look like as bad if it's done fresh and it's not chipped. But let's thin out this end. So I want to make it nice and thin, but I cannot make the entire length nice and thin because it will snap. You're only thinning out this part. Okay, again, you can see it on my filing lines. This is also very good to have like a filing technique, which you will use consistent on every nails. That will give you a consistent shape of your work as well, like, and things will look much nicer on the pictures, and things will like in general look much better. Okay, this one is quite flat, so I have to be very careful. I cannot remove any product from here, hardly any from the free edge, but I've got far too much on that side. So I'm just evening it out, and you can see that there are places where I have not enough product, places where I've got too much product. The way I hold the file is just removing what it has to be removed. Like, you know, this is the best filing technique, guys. You have to try it because it's gonna make your nail shape look much better. And I think this is, because another thing, like you guys ask me quite often, why don't you use the e-file to shape your nails? I mean, we just filing around the nail and then the rest is just a buffing. Yes, I could use e-file to buff the nails, but again, I like to use my filing routine. And for the videos, like, believe me guys, like I am like, I don't know, 10 times slower than normally, just because I want to show you things, like I'm watching how I'm holding my hand, so I'm not covering your view. I'm stopping and pointing the things as well. So the filing really doesn't take as long. And believe me, I do not like filing. Like, I do really not like filing. And if it would be necessary, yes, I would use the e-file. I do use e-file to rebulk the product. That's basically the nails shaped. To rebulk the product before we started the fill. So I have removed quite a lot already. Okay, next step is a buffer, and I'm using 100 and 180 grit buffer. And there is probably another question which comes up quite often. What is the difference in between them if they are both the same grit? And this is actually a fantastic question. So the difference in between that, this is a buffer and this is the actual file. So the buffer will be still always much smoother than the actual file. Okay, and I'm using 100 grit side to start with. And what I want to do it now, I cannot file like this or like this, because then you will create uneven surface of your nail. Ideally, you want to buff like this. Okay, so don't forget that the nail has a curve in there. And what you want to do is you want to file this side, you want to file this side, and you want to file this side. So nice all over the nail. And then you can just give it those gentle bath around the cuticle area to almost brush away the dust particles. Next nail, exactly the same. So buff it, just like this, around the cuticle area to blend it again. Almost brush away any kind of thing which might be in there. And I want you to look, we need to clean my fold as well, but I want you to look that's you don't know where the product is starting and where the natural nail is, because it's so nicely blended. Yeah, I think this video is slightly different to what I normally say to you, and I hope you find it very useful. Ideally, like when I'm doing my own nails, this is the best. So I would hold them on the knees and I would just file like this. That gives me the nicest shape, because then I keep the file like really exactly following the nail shape. And this buffer is fantastic because you cannot hurt yourself. I mean, you can hurt yourself like really badly with it because it's really sharp at the edges. I might actually show you another, for those of you who are just kind of starting up with the nail career. You have to always remove the sharp edges, guys. I'm going to show you that as well. So when you've got a brand new file, you just go like this and you remove all the sharp edges so you don't hurt yourself. Okay, clean the dust and then clean the nails with the blue scrub so they will look much nicer and prettier, and then we'll just tidy up the nail folds and do the design part. Okay, grab my cuticle nipper. And just tidy up further. Look what I found in there. And then the pinky. Okay, and let's paint the French. So we are gonna use some white French gel. Clean my brush. From the glitter, which I used on the client. And I also like to use the back of the forms as my mixing palette. Now, there are two ways of painting the French, and on my channel you will see me using the angular gel brush. I actually really like it. So what I'm always doing is, if I'm changing the color, I'm cleaning my brush with the actual paint I'm gonna use, just to make sure the bristles are soaking in the color we are gonna work with. Okay, so do the same. And yes, I need to do this video about the brush cleaning. And what you could do it is, you could both give you slightly different results, but you could use the angular gel brush. And what you do then is you just kind of push the product to the smile line. So you want to start the corner of your smile line, then create a letter V-ish. Go to the other corner of your smile line. Into this V shape. And look what I'm doing. With this technique, you want to push the product to the smile line. Just checking, it's not a long French. And then just perfect it. Do not do too big press with the large brush, because if you do, you would remove too much product. Okay, so this is one way of painting the French, and this is a technique I use quite often in a salon. Another way of doing it, this is what I use for a much shorter nails, and I'm going to show you why. So basically you go and you indicate your corner of the smile line. Oh gosh, Dorota, my hands shake. So corner of the smile line, another corner of the smile line. And then once I've got the corners of the smile lines, what I would do it is, I would just paint the smile line. Just like this. Okay, so paint the smile line, and then you have to color it in. And basically, if the nails are really short, it's quite easy and quick to do it. But if they're long, you are just like taking ages to paint your smile line. In that case, quite often I would just swap to my angular brush. Olivia actually loves the... What do you use? You use the one stroke brush, isn't it? No? D-liner brush?
Yes.
Okay, so...
I used to use the watercolor brush. The one that you're using, I think.
Okay.
But then I decided that's a little bit too big for some clients.
Uh-huh.
And then I use the fine line.
So Olivia, the D-liner.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a technique Olivia is using for French.
I don't like using the one-stroke brush because I press too much.
And then you remove too much product. Okay, as a product control. And also look like how the French looks when the end is thin as well. Like, I don't know which one I prefer it. Like, they both got advantages and disadvantages, like I would say. The part with the D-liner is just so because it's so fine brush, it just takes ages to paint it, like color in the French.
So sometimes I'll switch to the watercolor brush if I have a lot of surface area. I changed to the D-liner because some clients have small nails.
Okay.
And small Frenches.
I like it, like how quickly and how crisp the smile line can be. I think both of them will be a perfect combination then. And then Olivia doesn't like to use this brush because what she would do is she would press too hard and this is what she would get. Okay, so I'm bringing in always much more product, remove the excess of it.
The one-stroke one is really nice for making the shape. It's just, I don't make enough color on top.
The coverage, yeah. Anyway, I also prefer doing a paint on French rather than the structure French, and the reason for it is like if I would have a structure French, I will have to kind of stick in with my French. Why here I can easily change the design. So say example, if I choose black French, I can easily change it to white French, and I don't have to remove like almost the entire set of the nails to do so. Okay, just correct this smile line. And I think it's like best to just master one technique, because what I'm actually finding myself now, all my smile lines are inconsistent. So every smile line is different because on each I have used different technique. So always make sure you do actually paint your French exactly the same way. I'm not too bothered about the ring finger and the middle finger because that's where we put the design. Here I'm just gonna correct my smile lines. Imagine doing it with the left hand. Okay, that should do. I need to make this one less sharp. Like less, yeah, less sharp. Sorry, this is called fussiness now. Okay, cook them in. And when my hand is curing, I'm gonna prepare the next mixture. So we are gonna go for the black gel. And we are gonna use a transfer foil gel as well. Okay, on the ring finger and the middle finger, I have to put the top coat. So I've cured it only 30 seconds, and I'm just putting the top coat over those two nails, because that's where I want to do the transfer foil. And I don't want it to stick into the tiny bit of the inhibition layer my French has. Okay, cure it. Okay, 30 seconds is enough, and then, just to save the time, because the top coat cures 60 seconds, I'm just gonna apply the top coat on the other two nails. So they will be cooking together. So top coat in, again cap those free edge, and top coat on the pinky. "60 seconds cure." Actually, we could do 30 because we are gonna do the transfer foil. Close the products which you are not gonna need. Brilliant, they are ready. I'm gonna just give a gentle bath to the middle finger and a gentle bath to the ring finger, because that's where I want to place my design. I actually love French and matte as well. It looks so pretty too. But I'm not the fan of matte in general. Only for a Christmas time, I think. Like, I love the look of it, but I don't like to wear it myself. Like, I'm too active. I find it like matte tend to stain faster. Okay, clean it in. And then the black foil gel and the transfer foil gel. So just pick the scoop of it. Now, if I would paint just with the clear one, you would guys struggle really to see it. So that's why I'm doing those nice mixture, so you can see what I'm painting. And then the design goes here, leaving empty window in the middle. Okay, so nice scoop. And then paint some sort of swirly parts. So on the French, I want to actually cover the entire French. Little swirls. Let's do it actually opposite way. Yes, I was painting it with left hand on the other hand. Okay, and then here I'm gonna paint some sort of leaf. Almost like a flower leaf. And then do the same on the other side. So like a wee, almost flower, I would say. If your brush loads too much product, it will become thicker. You could actually see that happening here, so that's why I have cleaned it. So this is still pretty easy design, but you could make it more complicated by layering your gold transfer foil. Okay, another one. And then just something small here. Okay, I'm happy with it. So we have to give it a, make it 35 seconds kick. And in the meantime, we are gonna prepare the transfer foil. So I have choose the gold one. Okay, let's cut it a small piece of it. And then transfer it into our design. That's so pretty. You can see it transferring. I'm searching for an empty space. Like, I mean, if you're really fussy, you could just pick up a fresh transfer foil for every nail. And a very important thing with the transfer foil, because the design is almost 3D, you have to kind of like wrap the transfer foil everywhere so it sticks in everywhere. Okay, I'm really happy with the coverage. Our next step, they look nice like that, but I wanted to take them to a different dimension. So the next step, reapply the top coat. So this top coat is gonna protect our design, our transfer foil. Actually really easy, not over the top design for a November time. Like too early for a Christmas nails, like at least for me. So I thought this will be just enough. Top coat it well and cure it. We have to cure it at least 30 seconds so we can move on into the next step. Okay, grab my D-liner brush again, clean it from the black paint and go back to the white paint we have used before. I call it paint because they are paint gels, so they are completely different and they are okay to be used without of top coat. So I love it for sugaring, and that's what we are gonna do it now. So I'm just gonna find a good spot, pick up a look like how neat my brush is like to paint those wee lines. And then we are just gonna add some white detail here. Okay, nice and thin one. I do feel like it, I don't know, it just gives a different dimension to this design by adding those simple white squiggles. Very little product. Same in here. So I'm kind of creating new ones, but I'm also following where the old ones are. And if you look at it, what I'm doing is I'm picking up a tiny wee blob of the product. So when I'm painting with my brush, I've got a little bit more in here, and then I've got less as I move on. This is the easiest way to kind of paint some sort of squiggles, which looks really nice. Honestly, guys, you have to try it, like, because I'm repeating almost the same movement through the entire design. Okay, I think I'm happy with it. Let me just check. Yes, I am happy with it. So our last step for this design, just before we cure it, is grab some sugar glitter. And this one looks quite white in a pot, but it has some wee pink and pink sparkle through it. You can see it there. Tap to remove the excess and then give it a 60-second cure, and then we'll be able to see the final look. Okay, that's them ready. So just remove the excess of the sugar, clean it, clean the things so they're nice and pretty. And that's the set of the nails. We have done it. Today we just have to apply the cuticle oil, but I usually wait for the top coat to cool down a little bit before I do that. And that's what we have created today. And I hope, guys, you have really enjoyed learning this technique. All the products we have used today are also on our website. I'm sending you huge glittery hugs, and bye for now.